is. Preparation is key, everybody. Tonight we're gonna be talking about the the four evolutions of slavery. Now, of course, before slavery, the community all worked together and did their thing, and the community all everybody understood their purpose, I guess, overall. So everybody would, do whatever it was they did. And that's just in the beginning, it was just communities, everybody doing their part and everybody taking care of each other. That's before these evolutions began. So I'm just still getting set up here, but so we're talking about evolutions of slavery, and that the way it works is it began, everybody did their part, and then the first evolution of slavery is like an indentured servitude, and it took quite a while to get there, I would believe. Just in my like I didn't do any research or anything about this. It's just something I'm just talking about, something that I noticed on my own. And I spent the last 4 days really thinking it over and meditating on it. And so when we think about the community taking care of one another and all being together and all working to do their part, it's 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 definitely better than wherever we are now in this fourth evolution of slavery. Because at some point the it just gets worse and worse, because every progression of a thing that's negative, just like any progression of a thing that's positive, should increase in positivity. Anything that increases, that's negative, increases in its negativity. It reminds me of a scripture. It says, the master and savior and teacher Jesus, he said, once you clean up your house, and you get it all organized, he says it comes back with seven more powerful than it was. That tells us a very powerful thing about the evolution of negativity, because the evolution of negativity is exactly what we're talking about tonight when we talk about the four evolutions of slavery. Now, we're going to have a discussion. I have something prepared to go over, because I think it's valuable. I want to be able to share it in other forms, obviously. So as I begin to prepare here, I realized that somebody came in here and left the door open. So give me a second, and I'll be able to get back at this. So the essence of what we're talking about is the four evolutions of slavery, beginning with the communities taking care of one another and all building and working together, right? And so the first evolution is indentured servitude. And when we think about indentured servitude, people don't really understand that it was, a lot of times it was like contract labor, right? There were a lot of different stages to get to the that last 40, 50 years. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I'm gonna cover all this, and then after I cover it, we'll talk about it multiple times to make sure that anybody that comes in here new is able to grab it. I appreciate that follow, what I'm saying? Appreciate y'all stepping in here. Appreciate everybody being here. This is definitely going to be a powerful discussion tonight. Of course, everybody will come in. We'll bring in our thoughts and see what everybody thinks. But before we get into all that, let me go ahead and present the information, what I've spent the last couple of days preparing, and then we'll get into a group discussion. I think first what I would like to do is open the panel so that people know that we're going to have a group discussion. So I think we'll be able to get that panel up now. Now that we got that taken care of, now let us present the information. So like I said, so they told you that slavery ended, but it actually just evolved. So my name is Truth J Blue, and I'm your guide on this divine path, helping you to be free. And I want to welcome you to the Blue Strophecy, where I share my philosophy on divine alignment, authentic living, and resonance with your true essence. See, the truth, it will make you free. And it is my belief that you are a powerful, creative, spiritual being capable of doing anything that you can imagine and believe. It is my life's work to empower you to experience your divine power, potential, and purpose. Now, today we are discussing the four evolutions of slavery because how can one truly live free if they do not understand what it is that enslaves them? Look, they told you that slavery ended in 1865, but they lied. Or even worse, they told you a half truth that let you build your whole identity on the missing half. Look, check this out. I got some stuff. I need to move this stuff around, but look at this. This is the 13th Amendment. And the 13th Amendment, it says right here, it says, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. So slavery didn't end. Slavery just evolved. You know, it these evolutions. Now, this I've gotten really ahead of myself, but because it's so serious when we get to thinking about how these people have lied to us, how these evolutions happen, and they people talk about slavery, and slavery didn't end, it evolved. And so we're going to talk about the four times that it evolved, you know, and the last evolution, which is the one running right now in your mind, you know, in your feed, in our mouths. You know, you don't even know that you're wearing these chains. So let's walk through all four, not so that we could be angry, frustrated, but so that we can be free. Now, the first evolution is indentured servitude. So we move from communities doing what they taking care of one another and all working together and working in unity, doing what needs to be done to support one another, to indentured servitude. Now, we're not going to discuss how we got there because I didn't research it to know how we got there. But we know before there was chattel slavery, there was indentured servitude, this contract bound labor, forced labor, yes, but it was generational sometimes, but it wasn't like fully codified, hereditary, or race based lock system. I should say skin color lock system because there's only one race, and that's the human race. But most people, they when we picture slavery, we picture the last 40 or 50 years of slavery. But that system, the one that most of your textbooks show you, you know, the chains and the auction blocks, you know, that image that's burned into your mind, that was the only last 50 years of a 250-year institution that was brought over here by the colonialists, and it was law that they had to do it. They you if you had money, you must have an indentured servant. It was kind of like how they took care of people. And so, but 250 years, you can't just put it all into the 50 years. Now, and so over in those final 50 years, that was that chattel slavery, the way we were all taught to picture the entire 250 years. But why am I bringing this up? Why does this matter, should I ask? Because if they compress 2.5 centuries into one image, they can compress your understanding of who you were before the chain and who wrote the chain and why they did it. See, now we're gonna come back to this because again, I'm ahead of myself. And it because there's a name for this, how they did it and how they lied and all the system, you know, they buried it under a rebrand, but that rebrand I'll talk about in evolution 3. So the second evolution, you know, the prison industrial complex, which I already got ahead of myself and showed you all. But the prison industrial complex, we're gonna show it again. So when we talk about the prison industrial complex, we got to realize that there's a lot to it. It wasn't it wasn't simply, like they freed the slaves and it was like all for that. Even in Texas, they still wear the Confederate uniforms in the prisons. It was just another form of Confederacy. That's why the majority of the prisons are in the South. But let's read this real quick because it says neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Now, they use that word jurisdiction a lot. We just had an argument about what it means, but that's a whole nother video for a whole nother time that I probably will never do. So, but when we discuss the 13th Amendment, it's very important to understand that from indentured servitude, which I blocked with chattel slavery, because I see that last part being like where we are now, where when advocacy rises up, those who are in control will use greater, stronger forces to try to maintain that control. So that second evolution from community taking care of one another to the indentured servitude, which when advocacy raised up or rose up, I don't really know, but when advocacy began and they wanted their rights and wanted freedom, then we get the chattel slavery to try to keep them down, which lasted about the last 40 or 50 years. And then we get the Abraham Lincoln, he signs the 13th Amendment, which is the third evolution. See that 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 the second the prison industrial complex is the second evolution. I apologize. The prison industrial complex, everybody celebrates this. Nobody reads the amendment, you know, the words I just read for you. I want to say it one more time because there's people that come in, they come out, but it's such an amazing thing how we miss it. It says that neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime. Now, bruh, that is plainly stated that slavery can continue. And the saddest part is when we look back at history, that except as punishment for a crime. When we look back at history, this clause, except as punishment for a crime, that was the legal doorway that was used for the prison industrial complex for slavery to continue. Because the slaves, they were free, kind of free, kind of free. This is that second evolution from the indentured servitude. It's the prison industrial complex, what we call the 13th Amendment. But the moment the plantation was outlawed, a new plantation just opened, and we call that the courthouse and the cell block. You know, black codes, they appeared almost overnight. It's like they were preparing for it. They started criminalizing attitude, criminalizing loitering, like hanging out outside. Like we still see that one. Criminalizing existing without a job. These types of crimes were instituted and just brought back slavery, the second evolution of slavery, which still goes on today. Now, even though it's evolved, all of these other forms still go on, just like indentured servitude still goes on. And we all know it does. So all of them, just because it evolves, doesn't mean that the other ones just happen less. But if you got convicted and you get convicted, and the Constitution itself says that now you can be forced to work at no wage, you could no union, no protections. The historians and legal scholars, they still call this the exception clause, because it's this loophole in legal research today that we're still writing about it, we're still talking about it, how forced labor Has never left the American prison system. It's just changed the uniform and the way the plantation is run and how it exists. Because you guys, anybody's ever been locked up, they get all you do is labor. Like this is crazy. But 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 they didn't need the chains anymore. They had the courtroom. So now we could talk about the third evolution of slavery, which I say about the 40s, 50s, 60s, around there. This third evolution, what I call the mental enslavement. Mental enslavement, the third evolution. So here's where it gets real personal, where it stops being history and starts being your own inner voice. This evolution, it didn't need a whip or a warden. It only needed the classroom. See, around this era of school integrations, they had to make a decision. And that decision was whether we keep telling everybody, we keep them separated and tell everybody the truth and keep the psychology of subjugating Black Americans, or by telling them a lie. So look at it. Let me paint the picture for you. So schools have to be integrated. All of the things that I've said so far are known and taught in school about these evolutions of slavery, how they lied, the prison industrial complex, everything. This stuff is taught. The truth about history is taught and is there. You go back and find old history books, and I've showed it on Facebook many years ago, but you could see where it's two Black women, and one was the owner of a slave and one was the slave, and then it became a light-skinned African woman, and then in modern paintings, it's a white girl and a Black girl. Like they've done this because of this integration of education. So the integration of education, they had to decide. So we're gonna tell everybody the truth. We're gonna tell everybody the lie. So this is why private schools exist, because the the private schools allows them to be able to separate the lies from the partial truths and the navigated truths that they're able to leak to the people that they feel like they could give it to. I guess the system, we miss it. But if we think about the whole thing about how they do the mental, it's like if we think about what Marcus Garvey and Donald Goines, what they were trying to say, we wouldn't have ended up here if we'd have kept reading books, bro. I promise you. People, they didn't like me. They said I talked too much because I read a lot, man. I hung out in the libraries, man, and but bruh, if y'all were paying attention, bro, I could have freed y'all. But check this out. So it says the American Dictionary of the English Language. This is the Webster's 1828. This is the Webster's 1828 version of of the dictionary. You know what I'm saying? And it says American is an adjective pertaining to America. America, a noun, a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper colored races found here by the Europeans. Well, hold on. Don't skip over that copper color races. but anyway, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. The name American must always exalt the pride of patriotism, is what George Washington said. Now, why do I bring this up? Because of the lies, because of the all of the lies about them, what they taught you in school, this mental enslavement. Just think about what it says plainly. Think about this definition I just read to you. It says plainly, a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals, found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. That was the Webster's 1828 dictionary. Look it up. Because when we begin to understand that they were found here by the Europeans, like the copper, the copper Colored skinned people were found here by the Europeans. I'm not going to get deep into the story because I really want to get to the discussion, but we have to see that the Europeans didn't have the finances, they didn't have civilization, they didn't have ships. They found black people when they got to this country. Yes, they went and bought some slaves, but there was already black people here, but and that's how we get red people. They rewrote the history after they murdered the men, raped the women, had red babies, rewrote, we found red people, but forgot to fix all the parts. They didn't see the advancements of technology and know that people would be able to find the things that we're able to find, but the that word, it got quietly reassigned American. And that's not a footnote. That's identity theft written into the dictionary and the schools and the school books and the workbooks. So think about what happened next. If they can rename you, they can rewrite you. Because integrations of the schools didn't just mix the classroom, it became the delivery mechanism for a new curriculum. Because before that, they taught the word, they taught the Bible. It was a Bible verse taught, and you learn entire languages based on the word of God. But that's a whole nother video and a whole nother time too. You know what I'm saying? But they use the curriculum to tell you, to teach you, to mentally enslave you to think that you are a victim. You know what I'm saying? To think that your history began in chains and that your ancestors contributed nothing before that bondage. That's not education. That is psychological warfare. And it's more effective than any lock or chain, because a chain on the body, it can be broken, it can be opened by a key. A chain on the mind, it has to be broken by the mind that's put it there and allowed it to be put there. Think about this mental enslavement that they have taught us about the victimhood. Look, I've covered it already. So the 250 years so the first 200 years was indentured servitude. And remember, they agreed, they had contracts, they thought they were gonna get some land, they thought they were gonna get paid, everybody do their work, you know what I'm saying? 7 years, 10 years, 14 years, whatever those contracts were. And then they were supposed to get some land and be able to do their own things. There's some new land we here, we're gonna do, look, we're gonna do this, so these ideas, this idea of nah, you always change. You got to remember, Africa, the civilizations in Africa, long before Europe even had any real cities built, there were cities all over Africa. There was castles, civilizations. I'm talking about possibly for thousands of years before there was even a European. Like, people don't understand how whitewashing really works. What really happened before the 1400s, because they kind of don't tell us anything about that. But that mental enslavement, not letting you know where you come from, it's really the the crux for the fourth evolution of slavery, in which we're in now. Because first they got to get you to thinking incorrectly about your identity. First they got to get you thinking about what is it's just crazy, man. Like, the word of God, it tells us to be not conformed, but everybody conform. Everybody, over and over, accepting stuff that doesn't even make sense on its face, is how we get here. Like, because all it takes is a little bit of research, a little bit of looking at the facts and sorting it out, and you can see that they're lying. It's obvious that they're lying, right? So the third where they have us mentally enslaved, thinking that we're victims, thinking that every opportunity that's available that we can't get because our identity is attached to a 50-year lie that's stretched out across 250 years, and then they erase everything before then. Simple mental enslavement. They did this through the classroom, the workbook, the like, I'm like, this is serious, because the fourth evolution could not happen if you truly knew how powerful you were. If you knew you were a powerful, creative, spiritual being, there's no way that you would be trapped inside of the fourth evolution, which I have termed the evolution. This evolution is the echo chamber delusion. See, this is the chain that you're wearing right now, today. We're all caught up in it, you know. And 2026 is the one that we've installed ourselves. And what it is, I can't even get at the script, because the way it works is anything that doesn't match what we believe to be true, we assume is a lie. We attach it as a lie. Who is this? Is this somebody requesting to join as a guest? Yeah, anybody that follows me, you should be able to join. My fault. If you request again, I'll accept you. You know what I'm saying? I'll let y'all come on here. I ain't tripping about it. That we here for the discussion. You know what I'm saying? But when we talk about this fourth evolution, anything that contradicts what you already believe starts to sound like a lie automatically, without any evidence, without thinking about it, anything. If it contradicts what you already believe, then it's a lie. And here's the twist: you will even lie to defend your position, even while your own mind is screaming with cognitive dissonance, because admitting the contradiction feels more dangerous than the lie itself. So how do you know you're in it? We have to watch for the signs. How do you know if you're dealing with somebody who is enslaved by echo chamber delusion? Just look at the signs. A couple of them, I've listed them. The selective outrage. It's the same act. It makes you furious and outraged when person B does it. But if you stay silent when person A does it. The identical thing. I'm talking about exactly the same act. Person B, okay. Person A, hell no. Like, there's performative outrage, when you fake like you're mad about something that you're not really mad about. It didn't hurt your feelings, it didn't bother you at all, but you got to put on this performance, like you're performing hurt for an audience or something. And this inability to control impulses, where like people just don't even think about it. You like don't even seem to know any better. You just do it, because your identity demands it. Any illegal activity, when it mostly disguised as advocacy, where the cause becomes cover for the chaos. See, this evolution is the most dangerous because it requires no oppression, no plantation, no owner, no warden, no school book, just a mirror, a phone, and a community that rewards your every time you refuse to think for yourself. So let's talk about the collapse. Seeing this entire chain. Trace the line with me. Let's look at it. Look at it. Look, they controlled the body through indentured servitude. Then they controlled labor through the prison system. Then they controlled identity through the classroom. And now, in this final and most insidious evolution, this fourth evolution, they don't have to control you at all. You control yourself because you've been trained to defend your own captivity as if it were your identity, as if it were freedom itself, as if it were God itself. You defend these false identities, these lies, oh my goodness, this stuff drives me crazy. It's so disingenuous. It makes me so furious. If I was a person that cusses, I swear I would cuss. It makes me so dang angry sometimes. Because how can you do this? How can you be in such a dissonant state all the time? But because I love you, I decided to study, think, pray, come here and try to share something to get you to see things. That's why we say, look, get you to see things differently. So, because once you see things differently, then the truth will make you free. I only got one goal, I want you to see yourself as a powerful, creative, spiritual being, capable of doing anything that you can imagine and believe. Feel that. See that light, that the way everything used to be. The offense, the outrage, the reasons to want to defend the identity. It's a false identity. Like I was talking about in the video couple days ago. If your truth, quote unquote, is not based on the righteousness, the light being, the soul, the pureness of who, the love in which your soul is purely created from, then your truth is your lie. And it's just what it is. And that's just how it's always gonna be. And we can't change it, we can't stop it, we can't what we can do is we can learn about it and wake up. We can wake up and see things differently and begin to shape our lives because it's time to wake up and to live free. So if you're ready to break the chains of bondage, I'm not talking about the chains of the past that you can't even touch, not that stuff. We can't do nothing about the past. Can't do nothing about evolutions 1, 2, or 3. But the chain that you're experiencing right now, if you want to break that chain, go ahead and comment free down below. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and let's get into this discussion. I see people. I don't know if anybody's still in here says, nah, we really ready to shift into the discussion. If y'all want to talk about this stuff, man, y'all want to talk about something, let's get in here. Let's see if I can invite some people in. How I do this. Let's invite. Let's see if this person coming in. So really, so just thinking about these evolution, like I said, I'm gonna continue talking about it. I need to position the people coming in. What's up, Udal? I guess that's how you say it. What's up, Mary? So when we think about how these evolutions they happen, the key is how they took over our mind, how they just lied to us through the classrooms. And now I'm not completely against classrooms, and I don't want to seem like I'm trying to say that classrooms are evil even though they could be used for evil. You know what I'm saying? Anything that's used for evil also probably could be used for good. I don't know if that's gonna be a for everything, but most things, and from what I understand and from what I can see, that's about what we're gonna run into. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna begin to talk about this stuff more plainly. We're gonna go back and talk about the solution, because the solution is based upon what was before the evolutions. So before the evolutions, what's up, Callie? Welcome into the live. So before the evolution, there was communities, and the communities learned to work together. This unity, it's hard to get there when we don't understand all of the lies and all of the deception, right? Y'all come on in. Let's talk about it. Let's figure out if what's up, Bree? What's up, Callie? Let's figure out if there is a solution, because what's up, Secret? You know what I'm saying? Welcome in. So if there's a solution to solving these evolutions. What's up, Samantha? What's up, Jay? You know what I'm saying? Welcome in. Thank y'all for coming in. Make sure y'all tapping in, man. Hey, make sure you so come on in. Y'all want to talk about it, because we're talking about the solutions to the 4 types of slavery that exist. The first type of slavery, of course, is quote unquote illegal, but indentured servitude or forced labor. But we are understand that just evolved, because we just talked about it. That evolved with the 13th Amendment into the prison. What's up, Deborah? the prison industrial complex, it was an evolution of indentured servitude. We brought it up. I still have it over here. I probably could show you. It says neither slavery nor involuntary servitude except as punishment for a crime. This is why, like, jaywalking, loitering, at like, there was crimes against attitude, crimes against all types of stuff. This was the evolution of slavery. This the second evolution. This is where they lie to us and they tell us that oh, slavery is illegal, but no, it's not. It says it right here. But anybody that can read English, what's up, CJ? What's up, Luxina? Hopefully these are coming in as when they're coming in, and I'm not missing y'all. But seriously, we got to understand that the seriousness of everything that we do is based upon the lies that they set up and these half truths that they set up against us. And it's the solution is unity, because they're warring, their tools against us is division. All they keep dividing us by these different categories and breaking us up into these different gangs and communities and fraternities and sororities, and they just divide us and divide us and divide us and divide us. It's always division and another division. So if the warfare is dividing us amongst ourselves, then the solution is unity. What's up? I'm addicted. Thank y'all for coming in. What's up, Kimberly, Johnny? What's up? It's a very, you know what I'm saying? What's up, quad X or triple X? So welcome in. So when we think about the solution is unity. The solution is coming together, because the warfare is clearly division. Look at all the over the time. So when we look back to before the first evolution, to the community, there were probably clear and cut, like, these people fished, these people did the clothes, these people did this. There was probably a board, a chief, and then like a board, and what we call the elders. And so this was before the first evolution of slavery, right? So this community organization, so then they began dividing us by tribes, and they divide us by belief systems, and then they divide us by uh, areas, and then they divide us by all of these different things. Then eventually, when we get to where we pick up at the indentured servitude ends. It did not begin this way. Y'all got to remember that that the way that we're taught slavery in school, which is in the third evolution of slavery, the way that they teach us. What's up, Hannah? What's up, Just Know? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So what's up, Miss Tasha? What's up, Tasha? You know what I'm saying. What's up, Mally? So the solution is clearly unity, because their warfare is division. And if their warfare is by dividing us, then we got to figure out how to unite. And in order to unite, the the way they prevent us from uniting is that fourth evolution. See, that you got to see that the insidiousness of that fourth evolution, it's the insidiousness of the fourth evolution that causes the unity to almost be impossible. It's scary. It's scary, because the whole thing about it, is an idea. It's an idea. Oh, shoot, you're down. Messing with stuff. I gotta quit messing with stuff, right? Um, so when we consider the truth about everything, right? The truth is that we don't really understand how powerful someone might be. We don't really understand that unity can break all of the chains of every evolution of slavery. Every evolution of slavery, talking about, from whether it's indentured servitude, where you're being forced into slavery. And if you think about Viktor Frankl's book, what's up, Lucky? What's up, Nuck Chorus? Watch it unfold. Yeah, watch it unfold. Watch this. Look at this. So when you think about the solution is unity of for all forms of slavery, right? So what? Watch me. Walk with me. So every form of slavery, whether it be the indentured servitude, the prison industrial complex, the mental slavery, or the echo chamber delusion, any one of the what's up, Riri? So when we think about these four evolutions, all of them are used to divide us, but this fourth evolution being the most insidious because it prevents unity from being really possible. It puts us in a situation. What's up, Tasha? Welcome back. You know what I'm saying? Jump into the conversation. Let's talk about unity. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Sheila, Yanni? Anybody want to talk about these solutions to these situations, this mental enslavement, this forced labor, the prison industrial complex, or this echo chamber delusion? Let's talk about it, man, because this it's serious, and we got to figure out what can we agree on. And if we not having discussions about what we can agree on, they're going to continue to divide us. And once they get a house divided against itself, you already know, So the situation that we're talking about is the solution. What's the solution? The solution is unity. How do we unite? Figuring out where we can agree. So what's up Vloke? What's up, Nee? What's up, Talk? Until we have discussions and figure out what we can unite on that don't divide us, then we can't defeat their warfare, which is division. So their warfare is division. So our solutions is unity. They've been dividing us for over 500 years. They have a real advantage. You know what I'm saying? When you got 500 years of planned division and genocide, you know what I'm saying? It puts us. What's up? The truth speaks. Welcome back. What's up, slick boy? What's up, Ebony? So when that 500-year advantage that they have of dividing us makes it a little more difficult to figure out what we can unite on. But there's some simple things that we can unite on, but we got to talk about them. If they don't have us, if we don't talk and we don't discuss it, we don't figure out the solutions against the prison industrial complex through the mental slavery to the forced labor to the whole system, the whole way it's set up, the school books, the way it divides you and confuses you and intentionally deceives you to use you and control you. That seriousness, the insidiousness, the furiousness that should be inside everyone, when you wake up to it, it should jump up and slap you. It should be like boom. You know what I'm saying? Like you should see it, be like boom, I see it. Because you say, all right, what did the truth say? The truth said that they are dividing us and the solution is unity. Well, why is that the truth? Because the four evolutions of slavery all show that the way that they used and controlled you was to use and control you. Everything is about using and control you. And so they keep you divided. And we can see they divided us into tribes, and then they divided us into communities, and they divide us into these different situations. It's all of these different things that's ridiculous at times. Ridiculous. Seriously ridiculous. Because if we don't get our stuff together, if we don't get our stuff together, sorry, just going and following some people. If we don't get ourselves together, then they truly are going to win. They've already conquered all four stages. They've conquered your identity. You will lie to yourself, remain in cognitive dissonance to defend something that you know absolutely nothing about. That's real, bro. It's crazy how people do this, bro. I mean, dirt shocked. You ain't thought about it. You don't know. What's up, Blueprint? Welcome in. You know what I'm saying? You ain't thought about it. What's up, Jackie? What's up, the gigs? I'll be talking. It's harder for me to catch everybody, but if y'all hang out, I get to you for sure. What's up, Kingston? You know what I'm saying? So we continue to do this thing to bring ourselves to a point of unity. So We come here. What's up, Adoy? What's up, light skin Hooper? So we're talking about what can we agree on to defeat the division which they have already applied to us. Remember, all of these four evolutions of slavery were divisions, and it's to control us. But in this fourth evolution, where we won't talk to each other, we won't listen to each other, we won't try to learn, we won't try to grow, we won't try to expand because they divide us. And if their warfare is division, then surely our solution, surely our defense, surely the way we win is unity. But if we don't get here and discuss and try to figure out what we can stand on, what can we agree on, then how can we get to the winning the war that they're constantly dividing us and defeating us and keeping us controlled, keeping us to forced labor. Yeah, most of us are forced labor. It costs to live, it costs to eat, it costs to everything. That's forced labor. You forced to live. They say they got rid of indentured servitude through evolution two, which is the prison industrial complex, so that we'll do it again because we got new people showing up in here. So the prison industrial complex, it says right here, slavery is not illegal. It says except as punishment as a crime. You could clearly enslave people. And they enslave people for attitude. Do you know, when I was looking this up, man, I found out that attitude was a crime. They had like curfews, like standing in certain ways, looking at people, jaywalking, loitering. It was ridiculous the crimes that they had that in that second evolution of slavery in the prison industrial complex to keep. That's why most of the prisons are in the South, because that's just the third evolution of slavery. And then the second evolution of slavery. And then the third evolution of slavery is the integration of schools, where they decided to lie to you, to feed you the lies, to give you this false identity about being oppressed and being a victim, and letting them treat you however kind of way. Yeah, they did you like this forever. They don't tell you that Africa is luxurious and great civilizations way before Europe even existed. You know what I'm saying? Like we got to understand that you are a powerful, creative, spiritual being capable of doing anything that you can imagine and believe. And they used to teach this in the education system before the integration of the education. When the integration of the education is where we get the third form of slavery. This third form of slavery is the mental enslavement. The mental enslavement, it is how they use the classroom to enslave you to think incorrectly about your identity, incorrectly about melanated people, incorrectly about the history of this land. Matter of fact, they lie to us about the history. Matter of fact, let's do that one again. They lied to us about the history. So the 1828 Webster's Dictionary says it right here. The word American, let's focus right there about the middle. The word American originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper colored races found here by the Europeans. Hold on, wait. Why they don't teach this in school? Why they don't teach that they found copper colored races here, multiple races here, found here by the Europeans? And then it goes on to say, but now this term American is applied to the descendants of the Europeans born in America. The name American must always exalt the pride of patriotism is a quote by George Washington. So I don't really see why people don't understand the simple divisions that they use, and how important it is for us to come together and unite behind something and have discussions and see how they're dividing us and lying to us and controlling us and keeping us indentured, keeping us serving the system. You're continually a part of this system, whether it was ever since the first evolution, ever since before indentured servitude. So remember, it was the communities. We all worked together. We had fishermen. We had people who sewed. We had people who cleaned. We had people who handled the kids. We had the community, and everybody worked together, right? And then something comes in. I'm in my head when I think about it. I wouldn't say for sure, but I would think it had something to do with currency. So as soon as currency gets into play, the community's done. Now division enters in. So the first division, which is where we are, this is why communism and socialism is looked at as attractive to so many people, because when we get back to our roots the original roots of how we lived and what we know worked was that community organization. But the communities only worked because everybody was willing to work. Everybody was willing to do their part. It's the reason why the United States doesn't work anymore, because there's more people not doing their part than there are people doing their part. And that's just a simple math. We have 60% of the citizens of the United States are on welfare, or some type of government assistance, social security. Some coming out of the government. So that's 40% are working, 60% are taking. But that's not what we're talking about. But we're talking about how we need to unite in the community, and how those though that idea, that simple idea of unity, people don't understand that means work. That means you're going to be required to do something. You're going to be required to step up and handle your business. And that's what we're here to try to have a discussion about. Because whether you're someone who's in forced labor, whether you're someone who's in the prison system, or obviously you're probably not in the prison system watching me here, but if you've been in that system or know somebody in that system, that's just the second evolution of slavery. The first evolution from community was indentured servitude, which ended in chattel slavery. It did it. The whole 250 years of slavery here in the United States was not all chattel slavery. The first 210, 204, something like that, was really just like regular indentured servitude. It wasn't until advocacy and things like that and groups raised up, and then these groups raise up, and people want rights and they want freedoms, because there's rights and freedoms. You know what I'm saying? In the 1800s, people, what's up, Maz? In the 1800s, there was rights and freedoms. So slaves were like, what's rights and freedoms? We want that. And so people began to rise up, and chattel slavery and Jim Crow, all of that comes in, but that's all they teach you in the third evolution of slavery. In the third evolution of slavery, the mental enslavement, they just teach you that, oh yeah, the whole 250 years of chattel slavery. Matter of fact, they don't. They just conflated or erase that part or leave that part out. They don't even tell you that a large percentage of slave owners were black. They leave that part out. Like, there's a lot of different things that they leave out of history intentionally to mentally enslave you. What's up? What's up, dude? What's up? What's up, everybody, man? Welcome in. I don't even know what, but like when we understand this mental enslavement that comes from the integrations of schools, when they integrate the schools and they got to decide whether they're going to keep on teaching people that you're powerful, creative, spiritual beings, teaching people according to the word of God, when they decide that they're not going to teach people according to the Bible anymore at the integration of the schools, and they begin burning books, and they decide to lie to everybody, call it public school. When these public schools in the private schools, man, we're talking about divisions, because the solution is unity. I should put that up on the screen so that everybody understand what I'm talking about. Let me see if I got some text. Let's see if I can edit some text. See the solution, because you might come in and not know what's going on. Unity might need to be able to see, apply. Need to know. So just in case you come in and need to know, now you know what we're talking about. What's up? What's up, the A? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the heck. But anyway, so when we start looking at each one and we break it down, I always say the fourth one is the most insidious, the one we're in now, because it's the one I'm dealing with now. But everyone during its time probably was the most insidious of its time, because this is the fourth evolution, which has progressively got us here. Like mental enslavement through the school system and through public schools, and making you think something that's not true through changing and whitewashing history and leaving entire parts of history out, and not telling you about the truth about the continents, about how things, they just leave a lot of things open because they don't want you to know. They want you to assume and fill in the blanks for yourself. And when you do that, a lot of times many of us assume incorrectly. We assume incorrectly, and we this mental enslavement, this third evolution of slavery, this mental enslavement is so real. How they have us mentally enslaved through the school system. But the fourth evolution of slavery, where now we're this echo chamber delusion, where anything that sounds like um anything that we don't agree with is a lie and deserving of outrage. Anything that we don't agree with is a lie and deserving of outrage. And then inside of our echo chambers, guess what? If we don't think for ourselves and don't have an opinion and just agree, we will be rewarded. You look, people are becoming millionaires, multimillionaires, lying on social media for the check, going after the bag, telling you every type of thing, and you believe it. And because there's say 200 people that you follow all get the check and they all go say the thing, and then you all go on believing it because you never researched the thing. Ooh, it's so real anyway. It's real anyway. The truth will make you free, but you got to accept it. You got to think about it. The truth will make you free, but you got to spend some time thinking about the things that I'm saying to you to realize that the solution is unity, because their warfare is division. And if their warfare is division, then obviously the solution is unity. But they keep dividing us and dividing us and dividing us and dividing us, and now they have us in our echo chambers. And now anything that doesn't agree with what you already get in your echo chamber makes you upset, makes you frustrated, makes you irritated. And you don't have the capability, because anybody that's like generation alpha or generation beta who grew up in this technology era, the ability to think in real time. Many people can't even think in real time because of these divisions and these lies and all of the dang enslavement of your soul, of your spirit, of your mind, of your entire identity. You have given it up for something empty, for something vanity. What do you say? He says all vanity. It's all nothing. It's all emptiness. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing. Like Solomon finally realized it's all nothing. And when you finally realize it's all nothing, you can break the chains of disillusionment. But you disillusion because you think things that aren't true, and you're scared of being judged. You fear, and you allow fear to control you, but you don't ask questions because people who ask questions get kicked out the group, and you want to be in the group. Man, it's so many facets of how they continue to divide us and use us and mistreat us, and it's sad. But the solution is unity. The solution is coming in together and talking about what can we agree on, how can we get back to the community before the evolutions of slavery, before what I'm assuming that it had to have been currency or some type of currency that entered in to divide the community. Like there had to be something that divides the community by these people have it and these people don't, for indentured servitude, which is the first evolution of slavery, to happen. So for it to go from families and communities working together to the first evolution of slavery, which is indentured servitude, I'm assuming that it was some form of currency that caused that division. The same division that created every single evolution of slavery. It's the reason why everybody believes, or not everybody, I apologize. The majority of people that are born after 1990 believe that communism and community living and socialism is the answer, because that's our heritage. That's what it was before all of the forms of slavery. But it didn't work, because especially wouldn't work as long as currency is still around. There's always going to be the haves and the have-nots. You can't erase that. There's always going to be those of us who are wise enough and slick enough and smooth enough, and there's always going to be those that are naivete. You know, there's always going to be these people, and so there's always going to be people that are doing what the what do you say? What movie was that? Hey, Hustle and Flow. What he saying, hustle and flow. He said, look, there's walkers and there's talkers. And what it is, he said the talkers always get the walkers to do the work. There's always going to be like that. But the thing is, if we can agree on the destination, if we can agree on where we want to go. Another scripture, he says, how can two agree unless they first meet and agree on where they want to go? You can't agree unless you know where you're going. You guys say, okay, this is where we want to go. All right, how are we going to get there? All right, look, we're going to work together. We're going to figure out how to get there. That's agreement. That's unity. But first you gotta meet to agree. And you got to agree on the destination. But it's hard to agree on the destination when people don't understand the truth about the mental enslavement, the echo chamber delusion, the prison industrial complex, the indentured servitude, and how it originally was before the first evolution of slavery. If we can't rewind the time and see the timeline that the people worked together as a whole and as a community, and it caused a great explosion of people and of abundance, and then some people ended up dividing us by haves and have nots, is what I'm assuming, and then indentured servitude, bam, and then indentured servitude becomes prison industrial complex through 13th Amendment, which clearly says that slavery is still legal if you commit a crime. It never ended, didn't stop, has not stopped, probably won't stop anytime soon. Chances are that if it was to stop, people wouldn't know what to do anyway. Not not with themselves. People we don't see it because they lie to us. We don't see that people are mentally enslaved. We don't see that the prison industrial complex is just a continuation of the chattel slavery, because we don't care to think about it. We don't see that in indentured servitude, which is how slavery started. It got to chattel slavery because of advocacy and people wanting rights and wanting changes and wanting to experience that life. So because we never see that, it's hard for us to see that the division that they put us in, how they keep dividing us and dividing us. They divide us over nonsensical things, beliefs, words. Oh, he said this. All right, he's kicked out the group. What the heck? He's because he said something, he's no longer in the group. Because he believes something, he's no longer in the group. That's seriously, that's like you being best friends with somebody for 30 years, and then you find out that they're an Eagles fan and then you never talk to them. That's a belief. Seriously, it's an opinion. Politics are opinions. I know people don't want to accept that, but that's just another way they divide us. They call it they have all these races now. Human race is the only race. It's just skin colors. Um Different levels of melanation, skin colors. Because one thing we know is they guess about what the skin colors of people are in history, because DNAs are so very close. But that's a whole nother thing. The thing is, how can we unite? How can we defeat the the division, enslavement of our minds, the enslavement of our ability to take over our take back our identity and be who God created us to be, which is the whole reason why we here. It's the whole reason why I come to talk to y'all, because God created you with a purpose. The way we all sum it up is simple. It's like I believe wholeheartedly that you are a creation. And because I believe wholeheartedly that you're a creation, therefore I can just come to the next conclusion, and that's that you have a creator. Now, because I'm a creator and I know plenty of creators, I know that many creators create things with a purpose. Now, even though I create all these things, I have content, I've taken, just because I create everything with a purpose, many of those things that I create never serve their purpose. Y'all don't see more than half of the stuff that I create, the stuff that I write, the stuff that, like, I've been planning to do these truths for a long time. You don't get this stuff, right? There's so I understand that creators create with a purpose, but the thing created doesn't always serve its purpose. But that doesn't mean that purpose goes away. And whether you're in, because we're humans, our purpose is, it varies. Our purpose varies because it's People are competitors, people are artists, people are servants, people are lovers, people have presents, people have various gifts, right? But each one of those gifts are for others. And so I'm here telling you that you were created to serve others. You create like if you really want to be free, make sure y'all comment free down in the comments, man. If y'all don't want to join and talk, comment free down in the comments. If you want to live free and you tired of knowing people and having friends that you get that are in the prison industrial complex that are enslaved still in 2026, we got a prison system that the people are mistreated and it's just slavery, free labor, and then we still have people that are in forced labor and I'm talking about like me, all of us, anybody that's got to work in order to survive. That's forced labor. Right? Don't get it. Don't never get it mixed up. You know what I'm saying? You know, like I'm not confused about what the issues are. I'm confused about what people are talking about the solutions are because the solutions can't be worse than the thing that we're in. You got to think. And if you want to get to the point where people are no longer forced to work to survive and where people can come together, then we all got to figure out what can we agree on. We got to stop letting those echo chambers be the thing that it is. The those the situation becomes, do you really want to unite or do you just want to complain? Do you really do you understand that the enslavement of your mind? Do you understand that the enslavement of your identity? Do you understand that the prison industrial complex was the 13th Amendment's whole way of allowing getting the Confederates to stop killing people, getting the Confederates to chill out? They gave them the prison system. They were like, all right, if the blacks commit a crime, you know, then you can enslave them. And so then they wrote all these laws. There was, bro, I'm telling you, bro, like laws against like curfew, standing on the wrong side of the road, walking across the road, hanging out, like attitude. I was really shocked about attitude. I don't even know how you enforce that. That sounds like I'm gonna lock you up no matter what. You have an attitude. That's crazy. Could you imagine if they enforce that law, which is on the books today? They'll lock everybody up. Everybody, literally. Like I'm not even close to exaggerate. Like they can lock anybody up for attitude. Because how do you defend that? Right? So this prison industrial complex, which was the second evolution of the slavery, then that doesn't work. Then they have the third, which is the mental enslavement that through the classrooms, through the workbooks, through the school books, you know. And let's look at it because it's got a lot of new people. All y'all welcome in. Thank y'all. I apologize. I haven't got used to welcoming people in. I'm gonna get better. You know, like I promise. Let's look at this again. Let's just take a look at it because we're talking about it. And there's a lot of y'all here. Look, slavery is still legal. It says neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. Slavery, involuntary servitude, still legal if you commit a crime. It's still right there in the 13th Amendment because this is how they ended the Civil War. They gave the Confederates a way to still have slavery. It's 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 simple, but it is confusing because this wasn't going to get everybody wasn't going to commit a crime. And when finally people wanted to integrate the schools, the third evolution. I don't know what's going on with just somebody, um but seriously, the third evolution with the classroom where they lied to us about what slavery was, when they lied to us about how Africa was civilized way before there was a United States, how Africa had beautiful cities, had castles, kingdoms way before there was a Europe, how Africa's had the Africans had navigated the seas, how Christopher Columbus used a map from a Moor to navigate the seas to find the land. Like They came over with a map. I don't know how you discover something when you follow a map to get there, but I mean, come on, bro. They sell us like people buy this stuff hook, line, and sinker all day in school, man. Especially during my time in school. I don't know what they taught before me. They don't teach civics and history anymore. But I mean, when we think about this whole series of lies, like you don't discover something with a map, period. But so that mental enslavement, where they don't tell us about how Africans were here already. But it's right there in the Webster 1828. Let's pull that back up. The Webster's dictionary, the American dictionary of the English language. This is Webster's dictionary from 1828. You could go look it up. It says that American, right here, the noun is a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals or, slow down, let's look, copper colored races found here by the Europeans. Hold up now. Hold on. I know the color of copper is who, like the color of copper is we know the color of copper, bro. We ain't gotta, this ain't even rocket science. This is the dictionary in 1828. This ain't rocket science. We see that clearly there's something going on. Clearly, you know what I'm saying, there's something going on that they lying to us about, right? So this is that mental enslavement. They get you thinking something that's not true about the people that they found here and they lying to you about they brought all these millions of people here. They just lying, bro. And they put you in these islands and had all these ships. Europe ain't have no money. Europe ain't have no ships. They lying. I looked it up. You can look it up. It's easy to find. They ain't had no ships. They ain't had no money. They didn't even have any money or civilization until after the establishment of the United States. After Africa, thousands of years before. Civilizations. The only ones they tell us about is Egypt. They don't tell you about Nubia. They don't tell you about Shiloh. You know what I'm saying? They don't tell you about these places. Why not? Because they have us mentally enslaved by thinking something falsely about our identity. Period. That's that third form of enslavement, mental enslavement. But then we get to then we get to the fourth one, which is the one where the latest evolution, where anything that we don't agree with, we assume is a lie. I call it echo chamber delusion. Echo chamber delusion. You know what I'm saying? This echo chamber delusion, where if somebody says something that we don't agree with, their beliefs, their something that they state, someone of their likes, like I was talking about, the football team is an easy example. You know what I'm saying? It's like not talking to people because they like a different football team. These belief systems should not be dividing us and making us not talk about people. We should be trying to focus on what is it that we can agree on. How can two agree? How can you get to the desired destination? How can you get to true salvation, true freedom? How can you truly be free if we don't agree on the path to freedom? We must agree on the path to freedom in order to achieve it. And my theory is that the solution is unity. The solution is unity. That's my guess. But let's talk about it, because the only way we're going to be able to unite and truly be free from the prison industrial complex, from the indentured servitude, from the mental enslavement, and most importantly, the echo chamber delusion, which is what brought me here tonight. This echo chamber delusion, this fourth evolution of slavery, this where if it sounds different than what I hear regularly or what I like, then it's a lie. And I will lie, go against everything I believe to be able to defend my lie, which I call my truth. And then I will fight somebody, hurt somebody to defend the lie that clearly is a lie, because if person A do it, it's perfectly fine. But if person B does it, then I want them dead. So clearly I don't have a problem with it. I have a problem if certain people do it. This is the fourth evolution of slavery. It's called echo chamber delusion. Write it down, because this, I'm telling you, we're here. People only, if you swipe, if you don't like what the person's saying. What do you say? I don't like that. Oh, change the channel. I don't like that. This is echo chamber delusion. We only want to hear what we want to hear. It's scary. Yeah, look, everybody gone now. When I get to talk about this, I just lost 200 people in 10 seconds. It's real though. It's real. And whether we want to believe it or not, you can't escape it. You cannot escape the facts that the fourth evolution of slavery is if we hear something that we don't like, then it's a lie and we don't want to hear it. We don't want to think. We don't want to be forced to critically think. Any of you, my people that follow me, I appreciate you. What's up, Lex? What's up, Kelly? What's up, Grip? What's up, everybody? What's up, Glow? You know what I'm saying? So if you really think about it, and the power that we have in our energy and our attention, and the true currencies that exist, which is attention and time. And if we learn to use those currencies and focus on the value of those currencies, then these fiat currencies, then we can open up and see the light. But we cannot open up and see the light without this. We can't open up and see the light unless we understand how powerful we are. If you don't understand that you're a powerful, creative, spiritual being, it's going to be unlikely that you're going to be able to see that you're being controlled by an outside force. If you don't understand that you have something inside of you that gives you the power to make a choice, to decide, to think, you have a soul, you have a divine part of you that comes from the eternity source. If you don't understand it, then you're not going to understand that you're being controlled. Like, period. If you don't understand that you have control, then how can somebody convince you that somebody's controlling you? You just think it's the way it is. But no, I'm telling you, let's go back to before the first evolution again. So before the first evolution, we have communities working together. We got fishermen, we got people working with yarn, we got people working with silk, we got people taking care of this, people taking care of the kids. We got all of the people doing what they do in the community working together, right? And then what I'm assuming, again, it's an assumption. I'm assuming that currency is the first division, how we get the haves and have-nots. It's through thoughts and thinking it over. We could talk about it if y'all want. Jump on here if you think I'm wrong, but this division of the haves and have-nots is how we get the first evolution of slavery. Indentured servitude. I'm sorry. Yeah, ask again. I ask you. It's on a different screen, so you get request again. I invite y'all in. My fault. But because the name's over here, and I want to welcome y'all in, and then the accept thing pops up over here. It's crazy. But when we think about that first evolution, the haves and have-nots, the indentured servitude, right? This eventually, the people didn't want to be indentured servants anymore, and they began to rise up. And then the last 40, 50 years, this chattel slavery, this Jim Crow stuff is inserted in, and then we're taught. Let me not get too far ahead of myself, but then so the war breaks out in the United States, right? Bam, war, killing people, man. The North killing the South killing the North, and then Abraham Lincoln's like, how do we stop it? Well, we got to figure out how to make both sides happy. So boom, we get the 13th Amendment. And it says slavery is completely legal if they commit a crime. It don't say that literally, but it says that in essence. It says neither slavery nor involuntary servitude except as punishment for a crime. Period. I won't say period, my fault. But you know that saying that slavery is still legal if you commit a crime. That's the second evolution of slavery, the prison industrial complex. And then the third is the mental enslavement through the classroom, where they failed to teach you that the copper colored races, that the original people of this land were brown. The original people of this land were brown. Then they skipped that. And so there we go, the mental enslavement. You're a victim, your people ain't never have nothing. They don't tell you that Africa has civilizations for thousands of years, way before Europe, way before America, way before matter of fact, they came here and civilized all of the things that the mounds and the pyramids that are here in the Americas that were built by the Olmecs and then their ancestors, the Aztecs, you know, the Incas. These were brown people. They came here and murdered the men, raped the women, and had red babies, and rewrote the history and said we found red men. And so this mental enslavement from them stealing your identity, stealing the truth. What's up, Stella? Oh, let me cut my mic on. I'm in my speaker on. Hello. Hello. Hey, how you doing? Good. What's going on?
Not really. I just scrolled on TikTok and I just stopped.
Oh, appreciate you. How long you been? You just got in here. I appreciate you tapping in, man. So what you think about what I'm talking about the solution to defeating slavery is unity?
I think it's good. Slavery is not for us.
Yeah, but there's different forms of slavery. So I'll talk about how people currently were mentally enslaved, we're indentured servants. They have the prison industrial complex, and then we have echo chamber slavery. Yeah, you could join. Just click invite. Oh, actually, I have it. We're only followers could join. My fault. You got to follow me to join. But but when we think about the unity could solve all of this when we can learn to come together, learn to just respect people. Like if we can agree that every human deserved to be respected that and loved and treated with kindness and humility, like that would solve that would be the end all. But because they divide us amongst mostly beliefs and skin color and beliefs, like these two things, like words and the color of your skin, which you have no control over. So the words that you use, the words that you think are reasons for people to have wars. They have wars over what people think and how people choose to live. But the solution is unity. And so it's it's simple, but it's difficult because how can to meet unless they agree. And so that means you gotta agree on the destination. You can't meet at the destination if you don't agree on the destination. And if you don't understand that the solution is unity, then it's going to be hard for us to get there. If people are comfortable in their echo chambers and only being around people who they agree with and being rewarded. Earlier I was talking about this. Let's talk about that again. There are creators that we watch that are being paid to lie to us, being paid to share. They're becoming millionaires to lie to us, to feed us the propaganda. People are.
But don't
Go ahead.
but don't other people get like a whole lot of money from movies and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, creators. I'm not saying creators shouldn't get paid. I'm saying the creator that's getting paid. It'd be better if they were honest instead of keeping us enslaved in our echo chambers. Like we shouldn't be saying stuff as creators that we don't believe is true. I mean, in my personal opinion, like why would I come here and tell you that you're a powerful, creative, spiritual being if I didn't believe it? If I didn't believe that there was a creator and you would create it, why would I say it if I didn't believe it? Like if I wasn't an ignorant thug in front of the streets and did all the things that I did and then went to the church, gave my life to Jesus Christ, and my life completely transformed, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't tell you that it happened. I wouldn't tell you that 15 years ago I was doing everything unimaginable and my life was like a rap video, and then my life is what it is now. If I told you that, you might not believe it, but it's true. They these the path that we take to get free is hard, but it begins with first recognizing that we're a slave. Because you cannot you cannot free yourself if you don't first realize that you're a slave. It's gonna be extremely difficult. I don't think anything's impossible. But what's up, Alan? What's up, everybody? What's up, the king of New York? You know what I'm saying? What's up, Bristol? You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all. What's up? Who, what, when, and why? What's up, Ali? Make sure y'all tapping in. So the solution is unity to all of the divisions, all of the lies, all of the savagery, all of the frustration, everything that we deal with about divisions. Like the issue that I have with this fourth evolution of slavery, which I'm calling the echo chamber delusion. The issue that I have with the echo chamber delusion is that it's completely antithetical to unity. Like there's no critical thought, people aren't allowed to question, people aren't allowed to grow, and if you think differently and question, you're kicked out the group. This is scary. It's very scary. And I'm here warning y'all, you know what I'm saying? People might not see it. I was talking to somebody who I really respect earlier. They don't have a TikTok. They're gonna have a TikTok soon. But then we were talking earlier, and he said that he believed this one's been around for about 20 years. And I'm like, well, cool. It still follows the third evolution of slavery, which was mental slavery, which been around here in the United States about 60, 70 years. So the particular one that I'm talking about. The particular one that I'm talking about is where they've stolen the melanated people's identity through the lies. Where they've stolen our identity through the things they told us in school, the half truths that failing to give us all of the pieces. What's up, Ken? You you got an opinion or a thought on the solution to how we get free is through unity? All right, cool. Well, I appreciate you coming in to getting on the panel. So as we as we continue to progress through this system, right? It's always good. I want to welcome everybody in. I'm Truth J Blue. I believe wholeheartedly that you are a powerful, creative, spiritual being capable of doing anything that you can imagine and believe. And it is my life's work to come here and to share truths with you, to help you to share my philosophy on divine alignment, authentic living, and the powerful essence of who you really are and who you were created to be. So I come here and I share these ideas of these critical thinking things that you could take with you to help you renew your mind, to help you break free from the conformity to the systems that exist. So the whole idea, the whole thanks for those comments, everybody. Thanks for that heart and that thumbs up. The whole idea, you can unmute yourself when you get rid of your background noise. So the whole essence of becoming free mentally, becoming free actually in this world, free from being forced to work just to survive, people going to prison for doing things like this prison industrial complex, which we call the second evolution of slavery, that comes from the 13th Amendment, which we talked about. But when we talk about this, and then we talk about the third one, which is they lied to us about the people. The fourth one, we control it. We're in complete control. What's up? What's up? So we're in complete control over this fourth one. We're in complete control over our critical thinking. We're in complete control and listening to ideas that we don't necessarily agree with, and allowing people to think whatever they want to think and live however they want to live. Like I tell people, like I'm extremely conservative, extreme in all my thinking. But I think if you want to marry a tree and you're an adult, I don't care. As long as the tree's in your yard. If you have a tree in your yard and you want to marry it, cool with me. No, you can't marry the tree in my yard. Don't come in my yard try to marry my tree. But I don't care what you do in your yard. You can marry all the trees in your yard. You can marry the grass. You can live outside. I don't care. Like you should be able to live your life however you choose to live your life and be able to come to a realization whether that's the right life or the best life for you to live. Now, I don't really try to control what people do, but I will try to influence you to see that there are so many ways that they've controlled us to make us think through propaganda, and why the scriptures tells us to renew our mind and not be conformed. Like, don't be conformed to the things that are around you, because that prevents the critical thinking. It prevents the questioning. Like I did a show a couple weeks ago. Like if you can't question, then leave, because the questioning must be allowed. As soon as I can't question, then I don't feel safe. Like if I have to accept it without question, then I don't feel safe. Like if I have a job and somebody gives me an assignment to do something, and it's my regular assignment stuff I do it. But if they tell me to go do X, Y, Z and it looks unsafe, I'm gonna need some clarity. And so I appreciate everybody. It's been 90 minutes. It's been a long time, but I appreciate all y'all checking in. I appreciate y'all tapping in. And for me, I'm just gonna get out of here. Remember, I'm Truth J Blue. Y'all make sure y'all follow. Make sure if you want to be free, you comment free.